Hey everybody, Andy here with Poly Performance and you're watching Poly Garage. Thanks for tuning in today. We're going to go over one of my favorite subjects and probably one of the most important upgrades you could ever make to your vehicle. That's an onboard air source. So in front of me today, I've got three options from ARB, the CKSA12, CKMA12, and the CKMTA12. And we're going to go over some of the points and features of each one of these and do some unboxing. So let's get to it. The first one here, CKSA12. This is your entry-level compressor. It's the smallest one they offer. Output is 0.7 CFM at 29 PSI. It's a really important figure to consider. We prefer to look at the flow ratings at a given pressure versus just a 0 PSI because pumps do have a little bit of fall off as the pressure goes up. All these compressors are going to feature a very similar amount of product that comes in the box. So you have a nearly complete wiring harness. Basically just have to hook up a couple leads to your battery and to illumination. They use a serviceable air filter, and these include a mounting bracket and an air compressor switch. If you're buying an ARB locker, the ARB locker is going to include the solenoid and the switch for it as well. Their harnesses are pre-terminated to work perfectly with the contour switches that are included. So this is a great little guy. We like this one a lot. It's the perfect entry-level air source. This one's a little bit small for airing up tires, so we don't advise it for that. This would be great if you're just running lockers and you already have an air source or have a CO2 bottle. We're gonna go ahead and get this guy out of the way. My personal favorite compressor is the CKMA12. This unit puts out 2.34 CFM at 29 PSI, so significant upgrade in terms of air volume. And it is enough to air up a 35-inch tire. Won't be the fastest, but it will get the job done. It has a great duty cycle, and it's actually the highest output single compressor on the market. So I'm gonna go through a little bit of setting this guy up. It's gonna come with an in-cab half of the harness and then vehicle side. So this is the vehicle side. Nice big maxi fuse, pre-terminated for your relays. And this is the in-cab side, so you would mount this in cab, figure out where you want your switch to go, and then run the wiring through the firewall. So one of the things that makes this compressor great is that it's got a very flexible mounting option. So once we get the included air filter on, we can go over some of the other cool features of this. So this part right here is a manifold. Not everybody knows this, but the way an ARB locker works is it requires a constant pressure in the line. So your compressor doesn't necessarily need to be on all the time, but you need to have pressure stored somewhere. And that's what these little tanks are on top of the air compressors. They're actually a small, tiny air chamber, which holds the pressure from the air compressor. So one of the things we can do is, as we're mounting this in the vehicle, there's a screw here that allows us to rotate this manifold and orient everything in a way that makes sense in the vehicle. And I'm gonna put some of these parts together so you can see why this becomes important. Depending on what vehicle you're running and what bracket is included or what bracket you're using, we don't have all options available for mounting all the time, so we got to get a little creative. This is gonna become crystal clear in a second as to why it's nice to have these. So the locker has, or the compressor has, a mounting foot right here, a band that goes around the actual motor of the compressor. There's two screws here that allow this to rotate. And then this screw here loosens the manifold, and that lets us clock both the pressure switch and the locker solenoids independently. And there's two ports if you were to run two lockers. Now, one of the other things that is great about this compressor is that it can air up your tires. So ARB has their Pump Up Kit. This is a great kit. It's not too expensive, includes everything you need. So a one-handed chuck, a tire chuck, which actually has a check valve in it to prevent dirt from getting in, and a great little adapter fitting. So where this guy goes is in between the pressure switch, and you can put the pressure switch here, chuck there, like so. It just allows a lot of flexibility. These are all pipe threads, so it's pretty easy to get them oriented how you want. And again, because the whole compressor itself has a lot of mounting options, depending on whether you need to mount it up on a firewall, near a headlight, tucked by a battery, in cab in the vehicle. There's a lot of options. They're a little loud to mount in the vehicle, but it's livable too. I mean, this is four-wheel drive world, so we're okay with a little bit of noise from time to time. This is probably our best-selling compressor. This is the one we definitely steer customers towards when they're here looking for an upgrade or adding an ARB locker to their vehicle at the same time, because it is so versatile. And if all-out air volume is your desire, we have the CKMTA12. This is the big boy. As you can see here, it's basically just two CKMA12s put together. This guy puts out 4.6, 4.7 CFM at 29 PSI. That's a lot. This guy will air up 40, 42-inch tires, no problem. There's one port on this one. This guy feeds out to an optional manifold kit. It's essentially a vehicle mount version of the tank that's on top of the CKMA12. That's designed to be mounted somewhere separately, because this thing's so big, you have a very, very limited amount of places you can mount it on most vehicles, and that kind of dictates where this goes. Isn't always the best place to cram all the lines and wires running to the locker solenoids if you're running those. So all these are available on our site. And a great other thing to add at this time would be a stainless steel line kit. We offer two in a 5 and 12 foot lengths. These are great. They're much more durable than the nylon lines that come along. And they use an AN-3 fitting, so it's a little more secure than the push to connect type fittings. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Give us a call, shoot us an email, however you prefer to contact your purveyors of off-road parts. We are them. And stay tuned. We'll see you next time.